welcome to the All About the Balls Sports Podcast. We are three mates who love talking about sport. Now, when we were kids, one of us wanted to grow up to be a long-distance runner, one of us wanted to be a basketball player, and one of us wanted to be Maverick from Top Gun. And none of us have achieved those dreams. But we are sport lovers, and hopefully you have joined us to listen in to a little bit of inane chat about the weeks going on. Now, my name is Ollie, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Boise and Gareth. Lads, how are you? How the devil are you? How the bloody hell are you? Where the bloody hell are you? Where's everyone gone?
We are here, and those three could still happen, just so you...
Yeah, why have you written us off?
Yeah, I don't...
Okay, I mean, without wanting to give away the details here, the one of us who wants to be a basketball player...
Oh, I knew you'd go straight there.
Actually the shortest among us.
I knew you'd go straight. I knew you'd go straight there.
Sorry.
White men can't jump, as we've said, eh? Well, exactly. I don't even think that would help. I'd still get absolutely dominated. Basketball and volleyball are my two worst sports. I'm just absolutely rubbish at them.
Yeah. Yeah, beach volleyball's a lot of fun, but I'm not really made for that kind of sport. I'm more like a collision sport kind of person. Things that run into me or I run into them, that's about it. It's a bit of a dump truck of the sporting world.
Oh, I like it. Well,
Speaking of which, when I was trying to write the preamble for this show about rugby, I was thinking back to my first 15 coach at school, who did the end of season write up for the school magazine or whatever, and I played fullback at the time, and he wrote a good first season in the first for Ollie Matthews at 15, who was more often an extra pair of hands than an extra pair of hands.
Wow.
Mate, I mean, there's no need to say it. I was slower than fullback, yes.
Yeah. Great hands, though.
Safe as hell.
Pillow hands.
Yes. Come and lie in my pillow.
Yes. So.
But look, if you've been listening to the shows already this week, you will know that this is the start of something a little bit new and special for the All About the Balls show. Normally, we do a 1 hour a week show that kind of covers off rugby, cricket, a little bit of football, and a lot of rambling. But for the next few weeks, we're trying something different. We're going to do 3 or 4 shows a week, each about sort of 20, 25 minutes long. And each show will focus purely on its own sport. So we've already done football, which came out earlier this week. We've already done cricket. And now you are listening to our rugby show. We've also got another episode coming out tomorrow that's an interview with a good friend of the show called Maddie, who introduces us to the exciting world of AFL. But all about now, we are talking about rugby. At the moment, we are deep in the middle of the Six Nations. We've got 2 rounds to go. France are being... I guess they're being very French-like because they are just continuing to surprise everybody. They are actually topping the table with 3 very good wins. And they're now looking to be probably the favourites to pick up the Grand Slam. But lads, what are we thinking about the next 2 rounds of the Six Nations?
Well, I'd like to just, before we go into the actual games, how are they going to catch up the postponed coronavirus game? Do you know?
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't know. I was trying to research this before the show because I thought we should have an answer to that. I don't actually know. Like, it's been postponed. It is officially down as being postponed. But I haven't found yet anywhere that says that it's treated as a draw or they're going to reschedule it. Like, there's no space in the fixture list.
That's what I mean.
I assume they both get a draw, which will be Italy's best result for quite a while.
It'll be a shame, I think.
Bring Parisi back. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I can't find anywhere where there's actually a definitive answer.
If anyone knows who's listening, could you get in touch?
Yeah, we should probably know that.
Yeah. Well.
So Ireland, Italy's off this weekend, but there's still England, Wales, huge games.
It's going to be a good game.
Yes.
Scotland, France up at Murrayfield on the Sunday. So How have you guys been watching many of the games in the past 3 rounds?
I watched a bit of the highlights, but nothing too much. But from the sounds of it, England look okay, not overly convincing. But yeah, the French are storming it, which is they're going to slip up, aren't they? They're the French. They're going to do something to ruin it.
Yeah.
Sort of Gallic shithousery at some point in there.
Mate, you're...
Might go all the way. I mean, they've got Scotland this weekend. I can't see them losing that. And then the big one will be in the final weekend, but it's the last game of the whole thing. It's France, Ireland, but in Paris. And again, Ireland are having a really tough tournament. Actually. You know, that England properly beat them up. Was a couple of weekends ago in Twickenham. They properly beat them up, and key players for Ireland like Murray, Sexton, quite a few of the pack as well actually, and was it Lyle or Stockdale? I'm not sure. One of them really struggled. They had really bad games, and this is not the first time that England have done this to Ireland. So there's kind of this underlying story like. Is it time for some big clear out at Ireland? You know, there's quite a few players there who've stayed around for the World Cup. Is it time now that actually a few of them start getting replaced by the up and comers?
Yeah,
I think so. I think they've got they've certainly got to think about it. But Ireland have been at the top for quite a few years. I mean, it's easy to forget, isn't it? Really, that. This team have been around for ages. Johnny Sexton it feels like he's been around for years and years and years. Like,
I mean, he's no Ashton Aitken.
Well, no, exactly.
He has been around for a long time. Yeah, but
he's got the nose of a 42-year-old. I will say that. Mainly because he's been panelled a couple of times.
15, yeah, but no, it's true. He's got. Look, he hasn't suddenly become a bad player by any means. But I think just, you know, they've kind of lost. I think they've lost a little bit of confidence. You know, England seem to have absolutely got their number, and therefore you assume other teams are looking at it, going, "Oh, okay, so that's what you need to do to destroy the Irish." So, I think there's concerns there that they're going to need to reinvent themselves a little bit over the coming years. But I guess, you know, off the back of it's a brand new World Cup cycle, so why wouldn't that be the case? Why wouldn't that?
Is that, and they're also got a new coach. You know, they as much as he was part of this, you know, Farrell's there, and it's his first job is it his first job as head coach?
I think it is.
He's been hasn't he been defence coach?
Yeah,
like England and then Ireland and then
So you know, it's his first job. He's going to be adapting to that, and like you say, it's the beginning of a cycle. So you know, this is the year to do it, isn't it? If you're going to have a transition, this is the year to be. You know, and then the next year they're bringing the new players and new players probably, and then they've got 2 years to go after that through the cycle. So it's not completely ridiculous. I mean, it's amazing what Sean Edwards has done with that French defence. It just shows how much a coach can have such an impact in certain sports. You know, and whereas other ones can like cricket, sometimes I think they have much impact, bar selection and a little bit of coaching. Whereas rugby and football, they can have such an impact on it.
absolutely.
At that level.
That's a really good point. Why is that? Because I think you're absolutely right. Like, you can see Sean Edwards has had a huge impact, and he can't get that much time with the players because they're busy playing for their clubs a lot. So. Why is it that in some sports you can have a bigger impact than in others? What is it about it?
As in, when you say a bigger impact, literally it could be anything across the sport. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, okay. If you do, I'm just like kind of thinking out loud with this one. But like the England cricket team, for example, they are centrally contracted, aren't they? Their players are centrally contracted, so they will spend more time together in England camp and England training and things like that than they will do with their counties. But like Gareth says, there seems to be less ability for an England cricket coach to train and change the way the England cricket team play, like a batsman plays,
Yeah.
then the impact that Edwards seems to have had, where in a relatively short space of time, he has had a real big impact in the way that the French team not just structure their defence, but actually like the passion that they bring to it as well. Like, it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good start, so fair play to him. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how they continue, whether they can continue to perform, especially the French, knowing what they're capable of imploding later on. But it's good to see. I'm surprised England didn't even consider him.
Yeah.
There was do you know what? I can't remember where I heard this. It was like on Twitter. There was something that said along the lines of like, maybe it was Delalio. Either Delalio was telling the story or he got the message, but someone connected to England got a message from Edwards saying that he would consider and would be very interested in getting on board with England after Wales. And for whatever reason, England didn't move on it or didn't move quick enough on it and things like that, and that's a huge loss.
Absolutely.
I mean, England have still got a good coaching setup, but Sean Edwards is something quite special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows. But like you say, he hasn't been there long. But it does look like the French side, for the first time, actually, in a long time, genuinely look like they want to defend for each other and they want to play. They don't. It definitely seems to be a slightly different culture. Like you said, Ian, it's whether that's got long-term legs in it, or is this just a honeymoon period that there's a completely new way of doing things, and it's interesting. But it'll be interesting to see if he can actually maintain that.
Worst case scenario, he calls for Bruno Fernandes as the saviour, and it'll be all right.
There's a lot of jokes that only make sense if you've been listening to all the other episodes.
Well,
why wouldn't they?
Well, that is the test of a real fan. If they can laugh at all three. Well, I'll tell you what, someone who isn't that much of a saviour, he's made cameos in all three appearances this week, in every episode, so...
Absolutely. He's all about the ball, player of the week.
Well, he is. Yes. Multi-balls, he's called.
But Wales have had a bit of a weird tournament. They've only won once. And after the great 2019 they had, I think they've really underperformed. I think they're really struggling as well to kind of find their way. But again, to be fair, like the Ireland, they've got a new coach as well. So he needs some time to establish his new kind of game plan there. Scotland continue to be... I mean, do you know what? I don't like... I want Scotland to lose. But whenever Stuart Hogg gets the ball, I absolutely love it. Like, that man is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And so I'm just kind of confused how they don't do better when they do have some proper star players in their team.
Yeah, I mean... It's tough. I think the Welsh side, I mean, they've lost probably the best coach in the world, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Gats. And the Scottish side they're like one of those sides that you are semi-attractive to watch. It is quite entertaining, but you still just, in the little part of you niggles and goes, you don't really want them to win, but you want them to always run every game close. That's the ideal scenario. So...
and so, look, do you want to do some predictions for this weekend then? So, I mean, there's no Italy Ireland, but what are people's predictions for England Wales?
It's at Twickenham.
Yeah, England at home. England at home. And in their last run out against Ireland, that first half they absolutely destroyed.
Ollie, what are you going to go for? I want to see where you're at.
Yeah. I'm
going 32-18.
I thought you had big.
To the English.
2014 to the England to Wales for me. I'm going to say Wales will win it.
2014.
Yeah.
Mate, and that would be a huge win.
Yeah.
Huge win away from home. Okay. You're crazy. Gareth, what are you thinking? England, Wales?
I'm going to go for 23-17 to England.
No. Dramatic pause there. Well played, sir. That's a tight game, though. It's a tight game.
Tight.
And then we've got Scotland, France on Sunday, which is up at Murrayfield.
Your second home.
Mate, I've never been so cold in my life. All wet either. It's just
all lonely.
I'll be honest with you, I had some dark conversations in my own head. You do a weekend alone in Murrayfield in the cold and the wet. You have some interesting conversations with yourself, I tell you.
I like it.
So, got it. Scotland, France. Scotland still without Finn Russell, while him and Towns are trying to sort out their lovers' tiff.
32-16 to the French.
32-16. Punchy.
I think it's going to be a bit tighter, do I? Actually. 18-3 to the French.
Oh, I love it. That's a great score. I never go low. It's actually so good. 6-3. Actually, I'm changing it to.
Just 3 penalty goals in the whole match.
2-1 to the French.
I'm going to go 24-12 to the French.
Nice. Last thing before we wrap this up.
Yes.
Six Nations is... they haven't actually sold out to Sky Sports, have they? It's just talk of it. But there is talk of it going not on free-to-air television from 2022. And I'm going to throw that out to the floor and get your thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up.
Boise, do you want to go first before I rant?
I saw something on Twitter. Some guy saying that, or trying to counteract or counterbalance the argument that it will bring more people can watch it. Not more people can watch it, but it will open up the game. The money in the game that it will bring to the game will help develop it in the long term. But they gave loads of examples of where viewing figures of sports that have moved to Sky have significantly dropped, and used the example of football matches on the Premier League games bring maximum of 2 million viewers at any one time for the bigger games. Whereas I think the Everton-Liverpool FA Cup game this year had 7.2 million viewers. So I think that, although I think it seems like most people have Sky and therefore would watch it, I think it does bring a lot of the focus away, and it's a great tournament. So I think most people should be able to watch it, and I think it will be actually wrong to move it away. I think they should be bringing more sports back onto terrestrial TV.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking. I mean, on the one hand, I totally agree with you. I like the idea of it being more being available to as many people as possible, but I could kind of square it in my head if it went to like someone like Sky, if with the colossal amount of money that was paid by Sky, a load of that cash, it was stipulated as part of the contract that all of the unions then had to pump that money back into the game. Because there's that story, was it a couple of weeks ago, about how the RFU have slashed like 40% of the funding for the championship and things like that. Like, if this money that came in from Sky or any other big broadcaster, if that can actually replace that and go to the grassroots, like local clubs and kids and equipment, training coaches, the championship, all of that kind of stuff, then actually that I would totally support it going to a big broadcaster. But if there's not that kind of stipulation, if it's just lining the pockets, then actually, it's not good for the game. It's not good for the game.
What do you think it's most likely to be?
I think they'll chase the money because they're owned by a private equity firm now, basically.
Right.
So, with all due respect, all these headlines about like, oh, it's going to be a sellout and getting rid of the game and all that kind of stuff. But the headline should be private equity firm chooses to make money. Shock horror. Like, of course, this was always what was going to be happening. They weren't doing this because they were sort of wanting to help out some kids playing rugby in Surrey somewhere like that. They want to make money. So
I don't think that's the area that they're struggling to get kids to play rugby.
But they want to make money. They want to make money. This will be a quick, very strong return on their investments.
Yeah, sad. It's sad.
It is sad. It's sad. Do you remember when cricket used to be on the BBC?
Yeah, great example. And that's it. I think governing bodies are losing out on so much of that kind of goodwill and what happens when people can watch sports. That, I don't think they're thinking about it, which is a massive surprise.
Yeah, and it's you can see this you can see this down in Australia, for example, where the Rugby Australia are now going through renegotiating the broadcast rights, and they're up against it there because that game was the RA there have mismanaged things quite badly over years, and they are no longer one of the big sports in the country. AFL and rugby league and cricket are miles ahead, kind of thing. These sports need proper strategies from grassroots to the very top, and just chasing money is not going to keep the game going. Not going to keep the game going at all. So it's a dour note that we end on.
Yes, but an epic week of first time ever 3 podcasts.
Yep.
3 episodes.
Yeah. Hopefully you like it. This is definitely an experiment for us. Like we said, we're going to give it a go for a couple of months or something like that, and see how we go. So do tell us if you like it. Tell us if actually you just prefer it, just all bundled up together in one Shamozzle podcast.
I think we would say one hot mess. I don't know why I thought.
I was not going to say that.
One big hot mess of smorgasbord of sports or different plates. One different plates.
A cupboard from IKEA, but yes.
Yes.
Cool. Well, look, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Lads, have a very good week indeed. And speak to you soon.
Speak tomorrow.
Go well.
Cheers.